Hello and welcome to this short tutorial looking at the AQA English Literature GCSE. Today we're going to look at Paper 2 Poetry. The poem we're going to look at is Walking Away. As ever, this is intended as a guide to start your thinking about the poem, not a definitive answer. So take this, think about your own ideas, your own creative interpretation. That's the way to achieve best marks. So we're going to look at it sort of line by line if you want. I'm going to pick out some bits and pieces that I think are important. First thing to think about, I think, is the actual title, Walking Away. It has implications of moving away from something, sort of sad tone if you want, moving on to a different stage in your life. The poem is actually about the speaker. We assume I assume it's the father looking at his son playing a game of football. His son walks away at the end of the game, walks away from the father, and the father sort of reflects on this and thinks about how being a parent is about watching you grow apart from your son or daughter. Okay, so as I said, it's framed in this around this game of football that the father is watching, and he starts off by saying it's 18 years ago. So that's quite important because this memory is obviously quite sort of poignant, quite strong, almost to this day, so he remembers it very explicitly. It's 18 years ago, this memory, suggesting that it's a big deal. It's a sunny day with leaves just turning, and for me, leaves just turning indicates that we are in perhaps September, October time, the end of the summer, the beginning of autumn, moving towards winter, which in literature is a time of sort of death and sadness and all these things. So implies or suggests a kind of sad tone to the poem. The touchline's new rule, that's the touchlines on the football pitch we assume, and it's 18 years ago since I watched you play your first game of football. We've got this nice little simile here, game of football, and then like a satellite, wrenched from its orbit, go drifting away. So this is the sun, we assume, walking away after the game of football. Similarly, it compares him to a satellite, so a celestial object which orbits the Earth, and being wrenched from its orbit. The idea of wrenched is being violently pulled away from its orbit. So this is the sun. It's almost like the sun doesn't want to walk away, but Dad appreciates that this has to happen. And go drifting away emphasises this, the term drifting there, the verb to drift, suggests that the sun's got no real purpose, no real direction, doesn't know where he's going, perhaps isn't ready to leave his father. We've got some nice enjambment here, so like a satellite wrenched from its orbit, go drifting away behind a scatter of boys. That enjambment suggests it's a lack of structure, isn't it? And it suggests that perhaps the son and the father don't feel particularly comfortable about this separation. Behind a scatter of boys. I can see you walking away from me towards the school with the pathos of a half-fledged thing set free into a wilderness, the gait of one who finds no path where the path should be. This is a nice image here in this line, the pathos, so the kind of sadness, if you want, pathos, the emotion of a half-fledged thing that's set free. Here we've got half-fledged, which is a lovely image. It's comparing the sun to a bird who is half-fledged. Half-fledged means, when a bird is fully fledged, it's ready to leave the nest, fly away and face the world. And if it's only half-fledged, it's very, very vulnerable. This vulnerability, I would say, is added to by the fact that the sun is half-fledged, so he's half ready to face the world, and he's set free into a wilderness. Now, when we think of wilderness, we think of somewhere quite dangerous, somewhere with lots of potential dangers, and the fact that the sun is being set free into this suggests that he might not survive, he might not do very well. This idea is added to by the line and a half here, the gait of one who finds no path where the path should be. Gait there means just the kind of walk of one who finds no path where the path should be, suggests that there is no path there, the child is directionless, can't find his way in life, if you want, and obviously this affects the father. This again image is added to by a hesitant figure in the third stanza. Hesitant meaning obviously the child is hesitating, he's worried, he's anxious, he's not moving directly. Eddying away. Okay, eddying is a term I think used to describe stream which moves, meanders from side to side, doesn't go in a straight line. And it, again, lots of natural images here: half-fledged, eddying, wilderness, satellite, to compare the sun to something which you can't quite find its way in life, if you want. We've got another simile in this line here: the hesitant figure eddying away like a winged seed loosened from its parent stem. Okay, so it's comparing the sun there to a seed which has been loosened, which has been knocked away from its parent stem. If you can imagine a dandelion, let's say, when you blow that dandelion, obviously all the seeds scatter all over the place, and the sun is like a winged seed, one of those dandelion seeds, being scattered away from its parent stem, and obviously there's elements of vulnerability there because of that. Now we get onto in this part, we get onto the meaning of the poem, I think, in these last 8 lines. So he's talked obviously about the sun at length, about how vulnerable he is, but he's now beginning to reflect, the speaker. So that hesitant figure eddying away like a winged seed loosened from its parent stem has something I never quite grasped to convey. So in the figure of his son walking away, he reflects. He's over the 18 years, if you want, that he's had since this event. He's been trying to work out what it means, and what it means particularly about nature's give and take. So this idea in nature is about give and take, is about giving certain things and taking them away. The small scorching ordeals which fire one's irresolute clay. This is a nice little image here because ordeals means kind of traumas or dramas which fire one's irresolute clay. When clay is fired in a kiln, it becomes hard, and it goes from being this soft material to hard. So I think for me it's these events, as an adult, it's these events which happen in your life, the hard stuff, the tough stuff, the bad stuff, which actually turn you into the person you are, which fire your irresolute clay. And these ordeals here are described as small, but also scorching, which has connotations of being hot and very, very hot. So in other words, these events up here have made him the person he is. In the final stanza, he reflects a little bit more, and he says, "I've had worse partings, but none that gnaws at my mind, that so gnaws at my mind still." So in other words, he's had worse, dramas, worse events, worse breakups, whatever in his life, but none that have affected him so much. And he reflects and says, "This is the reason why it still hurts, it still affects me. Perhaps it is roughly saying what God alone could show. For how selfhood begins with a walking away, and love is proved in the letting go." And for me, this is the message of the poem, that selfhood begins with a walking away. So as a child, as you guys probably know, you're beginning to form your own identity, or have formed your own identity. You're moving away from your parents. You probably think your parents are pretty sad, and you're forming your own identity, your own selfhood, if you want. Conversely, as a parent, part of a parent's job is watching their child, making those decisions, moving away, knowing that you can't smother them, you can't look after them forever, and you've got to at some point move away and let them go. So love is proved in the letting go. So lovely little poem for me, this one. It speaks to me as a parent, particularly vividly, I should say, about the give and take of being a parent, and how you have to give your love, but you also have to accept that children are going to move away at some point and move on.